Welcome ladies and gents. Wanted to post up this quick job I had to do for a client. This video will just be an installation and tools and materials I used. I can do a separate video on material later down the line if you guys are interested. So this client wanted me to install this Resideo automatic Wi-Fi shuttle valve. Since the family was going on vacation, they wanted to install this valve in case anything went wrong in the rental property. They would be able to shut down the main to the household on their phone. Gotta love technology. It was the first time for me installing this bad boy. But I'm a plumber. For me, a valve is just a valve, just needs to be done right and follow the manufacturer's instructions. As for material, I used some Blue Monster half-inch Teflon, Pro Dope joint compound, soldering paste, Silver Bright solder, a half-inch wire brush, 2 3/4 copper male adapters, 1 3/4 copper union. I had a couple of 3/4 couplings on standby in case. I always like to be over prepared even though I didn't need them at the end. Lastly, I had about 1 foot of 3/4 L copper to make the installation. As for tools, I had 2 pairs of water pump pliers, or yes, channel locks for the newer gen. A map gas torch with my striker to light the gas tank. I used my Milwaukee copper tubing cutter, which didn't make this cut, but you will see it in action soon. I started off by shutting down the main into the household, and while I was draining the floors, I started cleaning my fittings and cleaning the area where I was going to make the cut, using a strip of emery cloth and a scratch pad, which I apologize wasn't shown in the first clip. Next came one of my favorite tools which helped me make the cut in this close quarters. I had a bucket to catch the residual water left on the line. I always ask my apprentices, do you know what a shiny penny looks like? Yes? Well, that's how clean I want the fittings. Another quick tip, I use a spray bottle to lightly spray the water around where I was going to the soldering, just in case. Next, a thin layer of flux is all you need on the pipe. I've seen many flux their fittings, which in my opinion is a waste of time and material, but everyone is entitled to their own way. Once you follow these steps, you heat up the pipe and the solder will take. Unless you have a valve which isn't holding and you got water on the line, then you need to get a little more creative. Or if the fittings or pipe wasn't cleaned properly from the beginning. In this case, I actually installed a newer valve on the main already a couple years ago, so I already knew the valve was going to do the job. I cleaned the joint and waited for it to cool a bit to give it a couple rounds of Blue Monster Teflon. Brushed a little bit of joint compound for a nice seal. Just like that, a valve is installed but not finished. Just to answer why I went with the union instead of a coupling was for in case valve needs to be serviced, I can just break the union and do what I gotta do. Once again, a thin layer of flux, then solder half the part of the union. Now I dry fitted the other part of the union and maladapted to get my final measurement. I soldered the cut piece on the maladapter and the other half of the union off camera just to save some time. Using the channels, I tightened the last portion to the valve. Don't forget righty tighty, lefty loosey. Now before I tightened the union, I turned on the main and made sure I checked for leaks on the pressure side. with the newly installed valve in the closed position, of course. We don't want to turn the basement into an indoor pool. Another tip is that unions don't need Teflon, it's a no. A thin layer of pipe joint compound is all. I've seen it way too many times in the field. If it's leaking, just hire a pro and have it changed before it gets worse. The electronical housing for the valve went on with just the clip provided. Connect the power adapter and follow the app instructions and done. The valve came with a leak detector on its own, but it's only like 5 foot long, which the client said he didn't want since he had a different leak detection sensors already installed in the basement, which I may say will be the only downside I see to this valve, because most water lines are in ceilings and you will need to purchase a leak detector cable extension separately. The valve does have a manual shut-off setting as well. I did get a chance to ask the client to turn on and off the valve through the app for video purposes. You can hear the valve working as the valve turning back on with the sound of flow of water back into the system. Everything worked, job well done, client was happy, on to the next.